Welcome back to Man vs. Meeple, the show where we talk about all things board game related. Today we're here with a review of Century Spice Road. This is from Plan B Games, and this is one that we've been waiting for a while. It was actually being developed under a different name, but Plan B was formed and they brought this out, or bringing it out right now, right?
Yeah, so I think this actually is releasing at Origins, which is just right around the corner. It is a lot of people have called this very similar to Splendor, or a souped-up kind of Splendor.
Kind of 2.0, if you will.
Yeah, so in the game, each player is going to represent a caravan trader, and you're going to be going out and collecting and delivering spices, trying to collect the most points by the end of the game. Minimal amount of components in the game, although it does come with some really cool stuff here.
Yeah, it comes with these little bowls, and I have to say, given everything that's out on the table here, it's very easy to set up because these bowls actually pack into the box just like so, and you just pull them right back out.
So in the game, each player is going to have a caravan in front of them. One of the players is going to be randomly dealt the first player caravan. And then around the board, each player will get a certain number of spices. There's 4 different types of spices in the game, ranging in rarity. You have yellow being the least rare, and then brown being the most rare within the game. And you'll get more depending on where you come in the turn order. To set up the game, each player will start with 2 cards. Each player will have a acquire card, basically 2 yellows, and then an upgrade card. You'll know these because they have a purple border around them. And then you're going to set up the stacks of cards to play with.
Yeah, you've got your point cards, which are across the top here, and then you've got your market cards, which are just like the 2 starting cards you have. You're going to be adding those to your hand. That's where you're really going to start to build your engine. And then, of course, as we said, you have the bowls of spices, and then these bonus coins here.
Yeah, so you'll have 5 market cards set up. At the ends of the market cards, you have gold coins and silver coins. Whenever you acquire these, you'll get the coin that's associated with them. These are worth 3 victory points, and the silvers are worth 1 victory point. So there's a little more incentive to go after some of the cards further down the row. And then you'll have 6 of the market cards. There'll always be a 6, so when one is acquired, a new one will replace it. In that specific order, and things will shift to the left in both of those categories.
Right, and it's a very easy game to play. Yeah. There's 4 possible things you can do on your turn, and I will just start with the first one. The first one is to play a card. You know, at the beginning of the game, you can either play one of your 2 starting cards, and that's really your only options until you take more. But when you play a card, you simply lay it in front of you. You do what the card says, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like you said, you're either going to be acquiring more spices or converting or upgrading your spices. You do that, and then you leave the card in front of you on the table.
So to talk about those in a little more depth and quickly, this one will allow you to acquire 2 yellows. This one will allow you to upgrade anything. When you upgrade, you can either upgrade 2 cubes according to this, so your 2 yellows can become 2 reds. Or you can take 1 yellow and upgrade it twice up to a green. And that holds same for any of the cards that have the upgrade ability. Now, one of the other cards you can acquire through the course of the game is your trade. And that allows you to take 1 set of cubes and to trade it in for a different set of cubes.
It's kind of like the upgrade, but you need some spices, and they convert to a very specific combination of other spices.
So that's action 1. Action 2 is you can actually go to the market and acquire new cards into your hand. When you go to the market, you're allowed to take any one of these cards that you so wish, with the caveat that you have to give resources up in order to take them further in the line. So if you take anything on the furthest right, that's a free card. You just take it directly in your hand. Anything further down, you have to place 1 of your spices. It doesn't matter what kind of spice, on top of that card. So if I wanted to take that juicy green one there, I'd have to place 1 here, 1 here. I would take the green card into my hand. Everything would shift over, and a new card would be placed at the end.
So you can tell right away, after that happens for a little while, those last cards on the right could start to accumulate some pretty decent amounts of spice. So even though it's a card you may or may not want necessarily for the engine you're building, you might be able to take it and get 4 or 5 spice. Usually yellow spice. There's not. I've seen some red out there, but no one's ever put in green or brown.
And the reason why you want to acquire these market cards is just economy. It allows you to manipulate the spice that you can acquire, but also the ones that you get into your tableau. Now your caravan only can hold 10 at a time. So you have to be careful about the way that you trade spices in and the ones you acquire. If at the end of your turn you have more than 10, you're going to have to return some of them back to the market.
So the third third action you can take is also taking a card, but it's one of the point cards up the top here. So you'll see these are pretty self-explanatory. There are some spices that you'll need to trade in on the bottom of the card. If you have those spices, you'll return those to the pools. You'll simply take the card and you'll play it face down in front of you, so that everyone saw what points you had, but maybe they won't remember by the end of the game.
Right.
When you do that, again, the cards will slide down from the deck and then be replenished here. Again, Jeremy said at the beginning of the review, if you take the 4th or 5th card, you're going to get a silver coin, which is worth 1 bonus point, or a gold coin, which is worth 3.
Yeah, so that's actually the end-game condition as well. If you're playing with a 2-player game, once one player collects 6 of those into their tableau face down, you'll finish out the round, and then you're going to add up points. In a more than 2-player game, it's going to be 5.
5 cards, yeah.
The last thing that you can do on your turn is to rest. Remember, as we said, all these cards that you acquire through the entire course of the game are going to be your cards to use at any time. You're going to place those in front of you, use their abilities, and there's going to be a point in the game where you either have no cards in your hand or all the cards that you want to use are going to be laid down in your tableau in front of you. To rest, you simply take all those cards back in your hand and your turn is over.
Right.
And you just keep going around the board until either 5 or 6 cards are claimed, and then you add up the victory points. It's a super, super simple game to play.
Yeah, I mean, a lot like Splendor, very simple to play with some layers of depth to it, so that it's a little bit more than just a casual game. I think gamers will appreciate it as well. This one has probably a little bit more than that, in my opinion.
I'm not a huge fan of Splendor. I know you like Splendor a lot. I like this game a little bit better. I feel like it's more tactile, taking these cubes and using them. It's a little more interesting too. All these different resources that you're trading in, the cards that you acquire, makes sense. The other night I did the math on all this too. I was like counting up the cubes and the values to make sure that all the math made sense, and it made perfect sense as well. To me, it's just not heavy enough for my taste. But
it's not a super heavy.
It's perfect for families. It's a perfect gateway game. What really interests me, though, about this game is that this line on the side of the box, they have a whole calendar of events that are coming out for the next 2 years. They have 2 more Century games, one in 2018 and one in 2019. They don't say a whole lot about the trilogy on here. I'm wondering if they're expansions or they're whole new systems or how they're going to handle this as a trilogy.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I mean, they're treating it like a trilogy, so they're 3 distinct games, but they haven't shared much, like Jeremy said, but I think there's a common thread of DNA through all of them, for sure. I certainly don't think it's just a reskin of the same game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they would hype games like that. So there's probably going to be an evolution of the series, some different things going on, and again, they take place in completely different settings.
They do.
So this is a Spice Road. I think the last one in 2019 is in America.
Yeah.
Which should be really interesting to see how that evolves.
So if you guys like Splendor, and I know there's a lot of you guys out there that love Splendor, definitely check this one out. It's got with some great components, metal coins that come with the actual game, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful presentation. Like Jeremy said, if you like Splendor, I think this is a no-brainer. And even if you're on the fence with Splendor and you're wanting maybe a little bit more depth, I think this might be worth a try as well.
Yeah, and a beautiful insert, too. We love inserts. So if you guys have any questions about the game, make them in the comments below. We will answer them for you. Subscribe to us, please. That helps us out a ton. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Tell your friends about us. And if you guys are going to be at Origin, stop by. We'll be there for 5 days straight playing games. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Season 1 of Man vs. Meeple is sponsored by our friends at TMG Games. And at Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.